Hey guys, and welcome back to another one. Now today we are going to take a look at two devices that have been here on the channel for quite some time, and as you guys know, I take my time, and today finally I'm going to share them with you. Now we are talking about the Probox 2 Ava and Probox 2 Air Plus, which are two Android TV boxes, obviously, but there are some differences between them, and what we are going to do right now is to take a look at them. And we are back. So looking at these two devices, once we open the package, there is one main difference, which is the Air Plus comes with an infrared remote plus a wireless remote, which is the Probox 2 Remote Plus, while the Ava only comes with the infrared remote control included. And on all my videos, I always suggest to get a wireless remote, and in this particular case, Probox 2 has a solution, which is the wireless remote that you guys are watching on screen. So either getting this remote or any other wireless remote will give us a better experience on any Android TV box, not only on these two. And for example, I can show you on screen like tasks like browsing the web or even browsing mobile apps like the Netflix app. A wireless remote will be great for that. Now, moving to the size and ports of these two devices, there are some differences, starting with the size. Obviously, the Probox 2 Ava, as you guys can see on screen, is quite bigger than the Air Plus. And then in terms of ports, they both have a gigabit Ethernet, HDMI out, two USB 2.0 ports, and then the Air Plus has a micro SD card slot, while the Ava has a full SD card slot. And then the Ava also has, besides all these ports, one USB 3.0 port, one HDMI input with recording capabilities that we will check in just a moment, and it also has one 2.5-inch hard drive bay, which can be very useful for those of you that want to have extra storage. And with Android 6 and above, with the adaptive storage, we can use a hard drive with 1 terabyte or so to install apps and anything that we want to keep on our Android TV box, which is just great. Now, in terms of design and build quality, although they are different in size, in terms of the plastic used, it follows what Probox 2 has been doing for the past few years, which is a really nice matte plastic, and it's not that cheap plastic. As we have seen on the past, Probox 2 uses a nice plastic, and these two units are not an exception. So here what I can say is that it's not the most or the best plastic that I've seen on any box, but it's not the worst either. So I would say that it's balanced. And for those of you that already have a Probox 2, just leave down below some comments regarding this, if you like the plastics, if you like the build quality or not. In my opinion, it stands in the middle, going to the higher range on build quality, which is nice. But if you ask me, hey Robert, is there any difference besides the size? No, there is not. The plastics are the same. So here, no differences at all. Now, moving to the launcher, we will find, as usual, the Probox 2 launcher, the latest version of their launcher, and this launcher will be used on these two machines. There are a few differences that are very small, just because the Ava has some features that the Air Plus doesn't. For example, the HDMI recording capabilities, but other than that, the usage, it's the same, and in my opinion, it's really easy to use. It will be just a matter of taste, if we like it or not, and in case that we don't like it, we can do as I always say, which is just to download any launcher, install it, and then we have a different look with the apps that we want and the shortcuts and widgets and so on and so forth. Now, regarding online updates, which is something very important on any machine, because none of them are perfect, and sooner or later we will find an issue that we will need to report to someone, and there are brands that don't give a rat's ass, and there are brands that will take the feedback from the user community and then fix those issues. Probox 2 is one of those brands. Now, I did test it out. I was able to update the Probox 2 Ava. Regarding the Air Plus, at this moment the online update was not working, but I was able to update through a SD card update, which is a manual update but easy to do, so no issues here. Now moving to the performance benchmarks and specifications, probably starting with the specifications. The Probox 2 Air Plus is using a very well-known SoC, which is one of my favorites, the AM Logic S912, along with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage, while the Probox 2 Ava is using the SoC from Realtek, the 1295, with 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of flash storage. Now regarding the display output, both of these machines are able to display an image of 4K, but the Ava goes to 60 Hz while the Air Plus only goes up to 30 Hz. And now moving to some benchmarks. Guys, I will leave some links down below, actually 2 links down below, so that you can see the screenshots of each of the benchmarks, for those of you that are interested in that, of course. But if we look at the general picture right over here, what we can see is that the Air Plus, because it has the AM Logic S912, has a little bit of leads in terms of raw performance, and we can see that advantage especially on Geekbench, and this translates that it's more powerful in multi-thread applications, which are not very common on Android, but nonetheless we have to give it to the AM Logic S912. But on the other hand, the Ava, as you guys can see, the overall performance is a bit superior, especially when we look at the disk speed tests, which, as we have talked on a previous video, is one of the important factors on any machine, which people sometimes don't look at. And in this particular case, what I can say is that the Ava, it's a bit snappier, swapping apps and multitasking and so on and so forth, because the disk is faster. Now we can also see the Wi-Fi on the Ava is superior, and although the other numbers are in par, these machines, what I can say, if you ask me, of course, hey Robert, is there any game or any app that you believe that one of them will not play? Guys, at this moment, our limitation, fortunately, is not on the hardware, but it is on the software. The software that's available for Android is not at the level that will make the hardware not capable of running. So anything that we have on the Play Store, it's able to be run by these devices, which are way higher than the software demand. Now, leaving the benchmarks aside and going to the real-world performance of these machines, and starting with the multimedia playback, what I can say is that in terms of Netflix, as expected, both machines will play just fine, but only up to SD quality. Regarding YouTube, I did install the 2 versions. The TV app version will be able to play up to 4K on both machines, as you guys can see on the screen. But by any reason, if you prefer to use the mobile app version for YouTube, then the maximum resolution will be 1080. Now, the next test that I made was with my IPTV service, which is the only IPTV service that I use, and this comes from my ISP provider, where I pay a monthly fee every month. And what I can say is that it works just great without any issues at all on both machines. Then moving to Kodi, and using the latest version, which at this moment is 17.5, on the Air Plus I was able to play all the formats, and I'll post some information on screen so that you can pause the video and check it out. And on the Probox 2 Ava, I was able to play everything with the exception of 4K H.264 movies, which makes the device or the Kodi app to crash. Not the device, but the app to actually crash. And I did restart it several times, but the result was always the same. And this just means something, guys. It's not the hardware, it's a firmware issue. So if anyone at Probox is watching this, check it out, guys, because it's not working on 4K H.264. And by the way, I will send this info on an email for support anyway, so that they can check the firmware and fix on the next online update. But other than that, I was able to play everything that I've got. And then on Plex, I was also able to play 1080 Blu-ray movies from my network to both Android TV boxes. And by the way, all the tests that I do and my own usage, as I said in the beginning of this video, everything is stored on my network attached storage solutions that I've got right over here. So everything is streamed from my local network to any Android TV box. Now moving to a feature that only the Probox 2 Ava has, which is the HDMI input and the recording capability. Guys, what we can do here is connect any device that has an HDMI output to this Probox 2 Ava input, and then have that image displayed on our Android TV box connected to our TV. And the tests that I performed, as usual, were with my ISP TV box provider, and as you guys can see on screen, it plays flawless, no issues at all. The only issue that I've got right over there is in terms of recording. And this only because the box captures the HTTP info, which means that copyright content will not be able to be recorded, and I was not able to do it. I also tested with my MacBook Pro 13-inch, the same result. It gets the error of copyright content. Now there is a workaround that I've shared in a past video, which is to get or to bypass this HTTP signal using a HDMI splitter, and in that way we will lose the HTTP protection, being able to record. I did not use with these boxes, I did use in the past. That's one of the ways to record any favorite TV show that we have, or any other HDMI output without or with HTTP, using or bypassing the HDMI signal. And if this is too confusing, just leave a comment down below and I'll try to explain a little bit better, showing you a few examples. Now moving to Android gaming, guys, as I said on the benchmarks, we are limited by software, not hardware. So if the firmware is right, we will be able to play anything. And the example is Asphalt 8 Airborne, which is a great game, one of my favorites, and it played just fine. I did play around with a few more, but I only recorded this one, and just great. Now moving a step forwards, I also test, and I love this, as you guys know, which is game streaming. Streaming games from my computer on the network to any Android TV box is just great, and both these machines were able to stream at 1080 with 60 frames per second, which is great if you want to play games on a big screen TV on our living room, for example. Is just great. And by the way, the game played was guzzlers right over there. And then finally, using the AirScreen app, which at this moment is my favorite free app to mirror and stream from iOS, Android, Windows, Linux and OS X to any Android TV box. As you guys can see on screen, using my phone, my iOS phone, iPhone SE, was fine to mirror and also to stream. I did have the image a bit stretched in this case here, but I don't mirror my screen often, so no complaint. And then I did test with high bitrate files on my Mac, using the Photos app with live slideshows. And guys, what I can say is that the result was just awesome. There, no delays, no lags, a pleasant watching both the image and also the audio. And that is it. Hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, don't forget that usual thumbs up. As always, my name is Roberto Jorge, and I'll see you guys on the next one.